Welcome to the Sassy Spoon Kitchen. I'd like you to enjoy this recipe with me for wet burritos. It's really easy to do and delicious. So give it a try. Thanks. Make sure you click like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We're going to make our sauce, and one of the parts that we have to do, the most important part, is to prepare the chilies. Now I'm using 3 kinds in this. One of them is the spicy de arbol, which are these little chilies like this. They're very, very spicy. I'm only using 4 in the sauce. And then I'm using a Pasilla chili, which I'll just pull out of here. It's a dark red chili. These are mostly broken up, but you can see it's almost black, kind of dark red. And then the majority of these, which are my favorite for making sauce, is Guajillo chili. And it's a red chili, but not as dark red as those other ones. So if you don't already know how to do this, when you buy dried chilies, you have to take the stem off, and you can hear the rattling inside. So what's rattling in there are the seeds, and you want to get them out for 2 reasons. In hotter chilies, that's where all the spice is, but also they're going to make your sauce bitter, and so are these little membranes in here, so we get those out too. I'm going to cook them in boiling water. Sometimes we toast the chilies, but we're not going to do that today. I'm going to cook them in boiling water, and then I'm going to use chicken broth to actually make the sauce. The boiling water that we cook them in can also come out bitter, and we don't really want that. Here's a little piece of the arbol chili, which is hot, so I'm going to put that in there. I just noticed there were a couple pieces. So all these seeds and membranes and stems go in the trash. So I'll meet you back at the blender when these are ready to be made into the sauce. We are ready to mix up the chili. So I have about a cup of chicken broth here. You can use plain water and use when we make the chili sauce. Excuse me. We're going to add more liquid, up to 3 or 4 cups. So if you don't have that much chicken broth or stock at home, you can use plain water and some chicken bouillon. This is the favorite in Mexico, and I use it all the time. You can also use Better Than Bouillon, which is great, and I use it too. So if you have a NutriBullet, this is a great little tiny machine that's very, very powerful. And so I just have a little liquid in here that will help it macerate everything perfectly. These are nice and soft. I cooked them for about 4 minutes in plain water, and I discarded the water because the water, as I said, can become very bitter, and we don't really want that in our chili sauce, do we? All right, so we're going to put the lid on, and then we're going to make a lot of noise. So I'm only going to bother you with the noise for about 1 second, and then I'm going to turn the video off. And what we're going to do is start off and do it for about 1 minute, and then we'll pulse it a few times, and then we'll come back. Let's see if I can even get it going. We're finished blending, and as you can see, it's a nice dark red color. And we're not going to use this for a few minutes, so I'm going to go on over to the stove. We're at the stove now. I'm going to turn the heat on. This doesn't need to be really hot. I'm going to put it on about 3. This is a large burner though, so it does put off plenty of heat. We're going to start with about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Gonna let it get a little heat, and then we're going to add our flour. And this is Wondra Flour, which is, I think, great for sauces. But you can use regular all-purpose flour if you want. This is 2 tablespoons. But a little bit less than the amount of olive oil than we have. And we're just going to toast it a little bit. It shouldn't clump. Well, it kind of is, but no, there it goes. It's dissolving really fast. That's the thing about Wondra Flour, is that it doesn't really clump. We're just going to toast it. We're not going to really make a roux. Here. And then we're going to be adding our chilies. Now our chilies ended up being about almost 2 cups of chilies. I'll let this toast just a little more. Okay, we're going to add that. Now you're going to see there's going to be quite a lot of residue left in here. And I didn't strain this chili because, number one, this blender is a blaster blender, and it really, really, really takes the chili to a whole new level as far as blasting it and really pureeing it. And this sauce is not it's more of a rustic sauce. It's not a real fine chili sauce. So I didn't have to really puree it. So I put another cup of, in fact, I'm going to put 2 cups, or a cup and a half of homemade chicken broth in there. And we're going to use that to rinse out all of what's left of the chilies, and that's going to be a good way to clean the chili out of the blender jar. You don't have to turn the blender on to do it, just shake it a little bit and it'll all come loose, or 95% of it will anyway. Oh, even came off the top. All right, so we're going to add this. Now, one thing you want to be careful of when you're working with chilies like this is not to spill it on anything like your clothes, on fine linen napkins, dish towels, whatever. It will stain, just so you know. All right, we're going to cook that until it kind of bubbles. And then we're going to add our tomato sauce. Let it simmer a little while and it will be done. Now this is enough to make at least 10 wet burritos. So we're going to have enough left over because I'm only going to make probably 4. There's only 2 of us, and we'll eat 2 tonight and maybe 2 another night or for lunches. They can tend to get soggy if you make too many ahead of time. So I'm just going to keep this sauce because this is a really, really good red chili sauce. So we're just going to let this bubble for a few minutes before we put the tomato sauce in. And we'll come back when we put tomato sauce in, but that's it. This red chili sauce is so good. You're going to love it. You can use it for enchiladas as well. And you're going to see it's way different than anything you can buy in the store, I promise you. All right, the sauce has been cooking, the chilies and the gravy basically, for about 10 minutes. It's nice and thick and bubbly, and I've got it on a pretty low temperature. Now we're going to add some Mexican oregano and some tomato sauce. It's 1 small can, 4-ounce can, I think. 8-ounce can. Smallest can you can buy of tomato sauce. And we're just going to stir that in, let it marry. And then the last thing we put in is Mexican oregano. Now, if you can't find Mexican oregano, and I implore you to try to find it, please look for it. If you can't find it, you can use regular oregano. And when you do, put it in your hands. If you see any sticks, pull them out, because Mexican oregano has sticks in it. They have a different process of cleaning it, harvesting it, whatever. Anyway, and then you rub it together between your hands, which actually with most leafy spices you should do that to release the oils. So there you go. Now we're going to stir that up. And then I'm going to put this back in the back on my simmer burner and just let it simmer until we're ready for it later to make the burritos. And this sauce is so delicious, and you're going to use it for other things too. I know you are. So that's red chili sauce made with red chilies, and you're going to love it. It is delicious. I'm ready to roll the burritos. Now, I do have a link on the bottom for making the tortillas. You can also buy store-bought tortillas. These are not big, huge burrito-sized tortillas. They are burrito-sized tortillas. They're not the gigantic burrito size. I'm not using any beans. These are just beef and cheese. And the beef has potatoes and onions and garlic in it, as you know. So, I put a little of the chili sauce in the bottom of the baking dish. I'm only making 4 because there's 2 of us. We're not going to eat more than 4. We're only going to eat 2 tonight and 2 another night or another time. So you take a little bit of the filling, put it in, and then you can put some cheese in if you want. I'm going to put some of the mixed Mexican cheese inside. And that's really all you put inside. And then you fold the elbows in and you roll it into a burrito. It's as simple as that. And these are going to fit perfectly in my little Chilean pot, whatever. And I'm just going to make 4 all together, and then I'll be back when they're ready to sauce. Okay, so here we've got our olive oil and our onions, prepping our filling for our burritos. Warm them up in the microwave or on a griddle. In just a moment, we'll put in our garlic and potatoes. That's all. The potatoes are a small dice, as you can see. They're yellow potatoes. I left the skin on. If you're using another kind of potato that might have a little rougher skin, you should peel them. These are just 2 potatoes, small potatoes, medium to small. This is where we get the term wet. I'm just doing 4 burritos. If you're doing a large number of burritos, you can adjust it. And here for seasonings, I'll be adding a pepper blend, some garlic salt, cumin, and Mexican oregano. You can adjust your seasonings, what you like. But generally like to put in cumin in anything I'm doing Mexican, and the garlic salt is in place of regular salt. You could just add regular salt. There's no reason to add garlic salt. I just like garlic salt. So the pepper blend is 4 peppers that are blended together that I use, and it has a little bit of fennel in it. Put some cheese on top and bacon. I use it for barbecue mostly, but I just had it handy, so I grabbed it. Okay, so our onions are cooking nicely. I'm going to put our garlic in. We want to kind of blend all the flavors together. Smells good. This is actually on a pretty low heat. It's on 4. And this is a large burner. I'm going to go ahead and put our seasonings in because I like to have them kind of toasted. So here goes the cumin and the pepper blend.
I would use more of a garlic
salt. And again, as I told you, and I've told you many times, whenever you're adding Mexican oregano, look out for any sticks. And then rub it between your hands as you add it.
At that point. And then we'll serve it.
So I like to toast them in with the olive oil or whatever oil you're using.
These out of the oven.
I'm going to get them married into the flavor.
And let them rest for about 5 minutes.
Some people like to add it at the end, but I really kind of like to blend it in with the oil.
I'm going to place them.
Okay, so now we're going to make some room in the middle where it's hottest. I'll add our meat. This is just an 80-20 hamburger. Look how good that really delicious.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and garnish them with some crema, avocado,
and I'm just going to break it up.
Pickled onion, and then sort of a salad on the side. So once they're all plated, and I'll be back with you for the last part.
Okay, here they are, ready to go. 2 little burritos all sauced up.
And we're going to continue to let this brown until the meat is browned. It's going to go in as our filling, and this is all we have to do to it.
Subscribe. Thanks a lot.
Let the potatoes brown a little bit, along with the meat. And we'll be ready to roll our burritos. I'll be back to you then.